Hey, what's going on? Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I'll be talking about the New York Jets versus the Philadelphia Eagles in the final preseason game. Before we get started, just wanted to mention you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the Just Jets podcast, wherever it is you get your podcast, and subscribe to the Just Jets Clips channel. Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the final preseason game. Now, things are a little bit different this year. Usually in years gone by, at least since I've been watching football, there's been 16 regular season games with 4 preseason games. Now, add a 17th game, take away a preseason game, so this is the 3rd preseason game, but it's the final preseason game of the 2021 season. The question that I've gotten a ton of, which I completely understand, is how long are the New York Jets going to play their starters for? That's a relevant question, right? Well, a few different things. Number one, it seems like most of the starters, especially Zach Wilson, is going to get a half. And I like this. I think this is a wise decision for the New York Jets to play their starters. And we'll talk about Zach Wilson more specifically in a second here, because this team is a very young team. And I understand injuries have played a big factor in the last week or so. They lost some key players on this team. I understand all that, but I don't think you can play scared. And what I mean by that is saying, oh my, like we got to put on the kid gloves now. I'm putting on my kid gloves and I'm going to deal with these starters and not really play them that much. I don't know if you're really afforded that luxury because not a lot of these guys have a ton of reps. And realistically, like on the offense, the starters have played, 6 drives? Is that really enough? I'm going to argue no. I think they need some more time. So if they get another 4 drives on offense and maybe 4 drives on defense, just for an even number, let's say, then great. I'm all for that. I think it's a wise decision for these, younger players to continue to get reps. And maybe you make exceptions and some of the older guys don't get as much playing time. That's fine. But there's no reason to believe that the younger players shouldn't be getting as many reps as possible this week. And I'm not saying playing the entire game, obviously. You still have to evaluate your roster. You got to cut this roster down to 53 guys. That's a big ask. So the second half of this game, you need to see some people and see, all right, who am I going to keep over another? Is this guy worth a roster spot? Do we want him on the practice squad? And on top of that, like maybe, you're not going to get a starting job or a roster spot, probably a better way to describe it, with the New York Jets, let's say, but you're auditioning and putting your tape out there for 30 other teams in the league. So this is a really important game. Here's my expectations for Zach Wilson this week. Continue to impress. And please, for the love of God, don't get hurt, because then the season's really down the tubes. But what I would like to see is just the confidence to continue to be there, because so far on 6 drives, he's looked good. And I understand it's not against number 1 defenses per se, but I like the confidence level that he has standing in the pocket, going through his reads and making throws. And we saw last week on his play to Corey Davis what he can do in space, making off-balance throws and putting it outside the numbers with some velocity on it. It's really impressive stuff. So I'd like to see more of that this week. Does he have to throw for 2 touchdowns in the first half again? No, but just stay confident and poised. That's what I'm very much so looking forward to. No Elijah Moore, AVT, or probably no Becton either, as he's coming back from likely a concussion. I don't know if they've actually come out and say if he's had a concussion or not, but I expect all 3 of these guys to be good to go for week 1, which is really all that matters. Don't rush someone back just to get them extra reps. I have no issue with that. I would also like to see more of Corey Davis on 3rd down. I know that's been a big factor for this New York Jets team so far, which I completely understand. He's been their most reliable receiver, and maybe when Elijah Moore comes back, that changes. But I love what he brings to this offense, especially as a safety blanket. He's really, really good. And safety blanket might be, I don't know. I don't know if that's giving him enough credit. Like, to me, I think safety blanket, I think like Dustin Keller, Jericho Cotchery kind of a thing. And that's almost a disservice to Corey Davis, because I think he's a higher ceiling player than probably both of those guys. As good as they were in their roles, I think Corey Davis has a chance to be better. So I'm going to look forward to that in the final game of the preseason. And then lastly, young pups fighting for a roster spot. I think something to watch for. I'm really looking forward to seeing Josh Adams versus LaMichael Pirine. I think Pirine's going to get the final roster spot, but man, every time Josh Adams gets the ball, he seems to make a play. So that's a battle to watch for. Some other guys, the corners are young. So they're going to rotate him around. Can Isaiah Dunn bounce back? Do you have a bounce back performance from Lamar Jackson and guys like that? Does Bless Austin play? All different kinds of things like that is something that I'm going to be looking forward to. And really, that's it. Once you get through this, again, fingers crossed, no injuries. They're doing it for real against the Carolina Panthers in week 1. We don't have to do any more speculating or storylines. It's all about football, and I'm ready for it. Let me know in the comments below, what are your expectations for this game? You can get at me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. Subscribe if you're new. Talk to you next time.